Well, if you're talking to me and I'm talking to you, then I am doing this special edition video, honouring and remembering those that had fallen in 9/11 over in America, New York, USA, and talking about my experiences of what I heard, saw, and knew about, and how it affected me back over here in the UK. Yeah, I mean, at the time I must have been about maybe about 15, 16, and I'll say about 16, and we were all kind of like coming from boarding school up to sort of like post 16, 19 college just next door, and because I was living over in sort of like Bournemouth House, owned by the Wing Centre, and we were coming up in the minivan. We all got off. We all went to the lounge, waiting for lessons to start before we went off to them. And the TV was on, and I don't know. It was kind of funny because I saw the news was on, and they were kind of like focusing on this camera angle from one side of the lake across to the Big Apple, with a lot of smoke coming off these buildings. And I realised I wasn't the only one who was watching this, because a lot of the other members of staff and students started noticing this as well, and more people started crowding around watching the TV. As we continued watching, we saw this was in the early hours of the morning. No one knew this was happening, and somehow news crew, CNN or whoever, being the BBC and whatnot, picked up on it very quickly, and before you know it, gradually but slowly, we heard reports that a plane had flew into one of the towers of the World Trade Center, and a second plane was on its way. And before you know it, the second plane just crashed into the second tower, and both of them were smouldering fire around the middle belly section. And I don't know. Oh, it was horrible. It was people waving out the windows, people throwing things out, some people taking their lives, and it was horrible, because some people just decided to commit suicide for themselves. Think, to hell with it, we were going to die anyway. Might as well die before this happens. When I saw that happen, I just couldn't believe. I just think, is this some sort of live cine art house movie thing going on? Like event cinema or something like that, or is this actually happening? It was just so unreal. I just couldn't believe because before, the world was kind of going for a bit of a peace period, just come out of other wars, and during the 90s, when we went to a place like Kosovo and Somalia, and President Clinton and all that, and George Bush only just recently been elected, and and Blair and his government have been in power for 3 or 4 years. Back then the world was a different place, but as soon as you see something like that on TV happening, everything changes. You see 2 planes going over the Twin Towers and smashing them up, and then people window, and then it just, the whole world just literally changed in the course of just one day, in 24 hours. It was only after those 2 planes smashed in the middle, and people, blah 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 blah. Just kind of just went tumbling down, and before you know it, everyone got trapped under the rubble. No doubt there were loads of people people screaming. We basically at the Wingston had to stop everything. We were taking like some minibuses. We went back home. We phoned up our members of our friends or families. I rang up my mum just to make sure she was all right, and who else. And I don't know what my mum made of this. I really don't. But after that one attack, which was, they claimed, Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda, that's when we started invading Iraq and Afghanistan. The Iraq War that was started by this, thanks to Bush and Blair going against the UN's approval. This made Tony Blair and Bush probably war criminals in some ways. Everyone hated them after that. But after 9/11, attitudes changed, socially, politically. Islamophobia started coming about, and it was a mess. Conspiracy theories after 9/11 started up, about everything happened, but you couldn't help thinking about what had happened to all those people. Couldn't help think about what happened to all those people when they died, and they were like, I couldn't imagine what it was like for them. I really can't. And for someone like me who has Asperger's syndrome, being that of mild, moderate autism, it was kind of weird, surreal, and shocking, no doubt. I don't know. There's a lot going through my mind. All those thoughts and feelings for those people. And today they've been celebrating 12 years after the events that affected and shocked the world and changed it forevermore. Even after 2012. 2013 now, still not wanting to go to war with Syria, and we just don't want history to repeat itself, trying to learn from our mistakes and doing it in a more diplomatic way. I don't know. So much has happened. Love to know your thoughts, feelings on the comments section, and know what you make of all of this. Just all of it, whether it's conspiracy theories, whether it's honouring and remembering and giving your condolences to all the families who've lost their loved ones in that, in the World Trade Center, and as well as that of United 93 and so forth, etc. Please, I'd love to know. I'd love to know.